So, I'm sorry, I think I told you, I'm Nikki Yakubovich. I am the proud principal here at Pine Spring. This is my 4th year, so when you come, I'll be starting my 5th year at Pine Spring. I am lucky enough to be accompanied by Jennifer Dancy.
Hi everyone, I'm the assistant principal here, and this is my 3rd year at Pine Spring. It's the best school in Fairfax County, so you are in great hands. All right, so what we're gonna do now is you guys all have name tags on, and they all have a color. So by the color is where you're gonna know where your child is going to go first, okay? So we're gonna have some of our teachers come, our kindergarten teachers, and they are going to accompany your child back to the classroom. They're gonna do some activities with the kindergarten teacher. Parents are gonna stay here, and then at the end of the session, you're gonna take a walk down to the classroom, gather your student, your child, and then you'll take a little tour, okay? So this is just kind of a cheat sheet. If you have a blue tag on, you're gonna go with Miss Primrose. If you have a green tag on, you'll go with Miss Pizer. Yellow, Miss Botenhauer, and Miss Crocker's gonna join her group. And then red, Miss Richardson. And we're gonna introduce each teacher so you know who they are, okay? So this is Miss Primrose, and she's been teaching for 2.5 years. She loves any type of cheese, and on the weekends, she does kickboxing, reading, and hiking, and she is with your blue name card. So if you have any name tags with blue, you're gonna go with Miss Primrose. So if you have blue, you can go right there with Miss Primrose. Wonderful. And Mom, you stay here. Okay. It's gonna be a big change for them. I know. That's okay. She'll be right with you, honey. I know. So hard. Right. If you have a green name tag, you're going to be with Mrs. Pizer. Mrs. Pizer has been teaching for 23 years. She's been at Pine Spring for 3, and she loves donuts, hint, hint, and she loves to go for walks on the weekends. So if you have Miss Pizer, you can join Miss Pizer. Alec and Jacob. Wonderful. Hi, Jacob. Thank you. Come on over. All right. If you have a yellow name tag, you're going to join Mrs. Botenhauer. Mrs. Botenhauer's been teaching for 17 years. She's been at Pine Spring for 3 and loves pizza and sightseeing. So if you want to join Miss Botenhauer, if you have a yellow name tag. Miss Violet, she's ready. All right. Great. And then Miss Crocker is also going to join that classroom. Go ahead. Miss Crocker, she's been teaching for 15 years. She's been in Pine Spring for 6. She loves sushi and chocolate and spending time with her daughter, cooking and reading. So she's going to join Miss Botenhauer's room as well. And she's expecting her 2nd child. Yeah,
I have a 3-year-old.
Are you ready? And then our last group is Miss Richardson, who's been teaching for 22 years. She's been at Pine Spring for 13 years. Her favorite food is spaghetti and pickles, not together. And then she has a weekend fun. She likes to go for long walks. All right, so if you have red, you're gonna join Miss Richardson. All right, don't worry, moms and dads are in great hands.
All right, moms and dads, take a deep breath. This is the first time probably you've been without a kiddo for at least the last, 12 hours. So these people all went to school to take care of your children. They're in good hands. You can tell who's first and only and who's had a few before, right? So we are going to go over some general things about things that happen at Pine Spring and how our day works and what a day in kindergarten looks like. Don't worry, we're recording this so that during the summer when your little one is asking some of the same questions, you can go back As long as you've signed up for the News You Choose, you will hear from me a million more times about all of those pieces, and that will start coming in late July, early August. You'll get a bunch of emails from us again with all of those same things. So this is an overview. No need to take notes. You can sit back and relax. There'll definitely be a time for questions before you get to take the tour. Like we shared, you'll get to get on the bus with the kiddos and have that experience with them. But we're going to talk about everything from registration information and how to know that you are set and taken care of, health information. We have our public health nurse here with us, attendance information because attendance does count in kindergarten. And then a day in the life of a Bobcat, how we communicate. We actually have our PTA president here who's going to be able to share a little bit about how to get connected and why to get connected to Pine Spring. And then we'll do a school tour. So we at Pine Spring are a proud Title I school. We welcome in about 642 amazing Bobcats a day. That includes our preschool through 6th grade programs. So we have 6 classes of preschool, followed by 5. Currently, we have 5 kindergartens. We have 5 first grades, 4 of just about every other grade level, and then 3 6th grades. So we are that small neighborhood school that you thought of when you said you were going to send your kiddo to elementary school. Hopefully we're what you thought of. So we are not a high rise. We're not the 2-level schools. You'll see the whole school is one nice level. So there's not a lot of stairs or anything for children to go up. We pride ourselves on welcoming all students. So we do have, of course, the largest population that we have are neurotypical children, but we do have a variety of special education programs as well. We also have ESOL supports, that English is a second language. So we support children. We also have a local level 4 advanced academics course. So we're able to support your child from preschool to 6th grade, whether they have an area of struggle that we are going to help them build that knowledge, or if they need enhancement and they need challenged at a different level. So for those who don't know, what is Title I? I promise not to read you the screen. So a Title I school, right? Has everyone ever been to the presentation where they read you the screen? No one loves that. So a Title I school just means that we're receiving a federal grant each year because we have more than 50% of our children live below the government decided poverty line. So that those funds just help support the idea that we give everyone an equal playing field, right? The great thing about those funds, though, is that they don't support some. They support all of our students. So the way that Pine Spring uses those funds is to ensure that we have additional teachers that either directly work with children or support our teachers in understanding new methodology. We don't want to be the school who's teaching the same way that we were in the 80s. So this also helped because we're a Title I school. We've gotten things like an AART, which is a full-time AART, which is an advanced academic resource teacher. So that's that enrichment opportunity. It also allows us to do things like family engagement opportunities in a typical year, which will be our first typical year in a while again. We'll have a literacy night. We'll have a math night. We've just introduced a science night. So we'll have those opportunities. And the way that we're able to fund those is through those Title I grant funding. So there are a lot of advantages to being in a Title I school.
So our mission and vision was created by a group of our teachers that represented every grade level and specialty area. We all came together and we thought about what could be a great way to represent Pine Spring. Some of the things that we include in our mission are things like perseverance, problem solving, striving for growth, and equitable opportunities. This is posted on our website and revisited every year so we can see if there's anything we need to add or take away. We also have a vision of 3 different things that we always strive for: collaborative community, empowered students, and equitable opportunities. So this is on our website, so if you want to revisit it, you can do that at any time. All right, I'm going to also welcome Ms. Breeden. She is our SIA, Student Information Assistant, and she's going to just give you some information about registration.
Hello, good morning. My name is Leslie. I will be the one to help you with all your registration documents. And the requirements for registration basically is you have some form you have to fill out. You can either do it online and then email those to me, or you can just pick up forms here. And you can just fill them out at home and then you just drop it off. But the requirements are like the birth certificate, original birth certificate, picture ID of the parents. The proof of residency can be the lease, the deed of the house, or mortgage statement, plus 3 supporting documents, which are 3 different type of bills from the current month or the month before you're enrolling your child. And then we have the physical immunization records. That's the only form that can actually wait for a later time, since most of the kids' birthdays probably could be over the summer. So, but those forms can wait for later. But basically a physical done within 12 months, it expires a year later, so it has to be 2022. And then immunization records. And then once you have all those documents, you will have probably just give us a call to set up an appointment, and you can come to the building, sign the forms in front of us, and submit the copies of the requirements. And we just file those papers and we do the registration. So like I said, the proof of residency, birth certificate, picture ID of the parents, and the physical immunization records of each of your children. And that's it. That's all what you need.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Now we're going to introduce our public health nurse. This is Ms. Vivian Goldstein.
Hi, everybody, welcome. I'm the public health nurse. I'm one member of a 2 health team. The other person is Brenda Williams. She's our school health aide. Brenda's here every day. We have a clinic, but it's not a full service clinic, so we won't be doing the full physicals and stuff. Brenda's here and she will take care of the parent sick and injured children. She'll be doing vision and hearing screenings, and she can administer medication once they've been checked in properly. I'm the public health nurse and I go to a couple different schools as well. I'm working behind the scenes so I can be reached anytime during the summer or by email at any time. My role is a little bit different. I will work with your doctors to make sure that your medication forms are complete. If you have any need for medication forms, or you just want to be able to contact me, just wait outside the door is the table with little pink placards on it. There's all kinds of medication forms you can have there. Once I get the medication forms in, I'll be writing care plans to be able to show the teachers what needs to be done to keep your children safe. I'll be training staff on health needs and basically acting as a liaison to the health department to monitor illness trends and so forth. I wanted to let everybody know that all medications need to come in approved pharmacy labeled boxes. Your doctors will need to fill out the forms and you'll need to sign the top as well. All of the medication and health information really needs to be resolved during the summer so we can start a healthy first day. If you have any questions or would like to contact me, I do work over the summer and I would love to hear from you. I will be calling with any questions on any of the additional forms that I have. We do ask that we keep the community safe by all doing our part. So what that means is if your child wakes up in the morning, has a fever, diarrhea, vomiting, or just is a sore throat or not feeling well, please keep your child home until they are 100% better for 24 hours without any fever reducing medication. If you send them in, we're going to wind up just sending them right back home and it's going to be disrupted. But if we all do our part, we'll keep illness out of the schools. If your child is going to be out of school for 3 consecutive days or more, we ask that you get a doctor's note so that we know that they're healthy and safe when they come back. At any time you want to reach me, please just call the school and ask for the nurse and I'll call you right back. I look forward to working with you and your children and welcome.
Thanks, Vivian.
Great. So this is always a myth buster conversation. In the state of Virginia, once you register your child in kindergarten, attendance counts, right? And you're thinking, but I can teach them their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s, they'll be fine. There is far more to teaching kindergarten than I believe that you're teaching them their ABCs and their 1, 2, 3s right now. However, there's a lot to be said about starting a good attendance, starting day 1 in kindergarten. Remember that how you act about kindergarten, how you behave about school is how your children will perceive it. So when we think about attendance adds up, there's a lot of research, again, starting in kindergarten about 10%, if you miss 10%, it's about 18 days. you are there. That's, if you think about it, it's like 2 or 3 days every few weeks. So you're thinking like, oh, you're gonna go on a vacation. Those things happen. But we're gonna go on a vacation, but then like today, she just was tired, so I decided not to send her. Or, oh, he said he was just not feeling it today, or he had a headache, no fever, nothing else is happening. He was fine, and then when you got him breakfast, he seemed fine and wanted to play video games. That might be an indicator that he or she should come to school. So students frequently absent in kindergarten do not do as well as their counterparts who attend regularly when they go to first grade. Remember that kindergarten now is the beginning of literacy and reading. So we do expect them reading by the end of their kindergarten year. So when you absence add up, the research shows that 18 days in a school year lowers their test scores, and it can increase your likelihood of retention. To be honest, retention is not a strategy we use frequently in FCPS. However, it does increase if you have a significant attendance concern, your likelihood of graduation, your child's likelihood of dropout rate goes up. Their graduation rate goes significantly down. That is across all socioeconomic statuses, all cultures, all races and ethnicities. So regardless of the previous education, it does impact your family, your child's likelihood to graduate from high school. So if you're having questions on, well, they're having headaches, and the public health nurse just told me if they have a headache, don't send them. If they have a headache on a regular basis, it seems to get better when the bus goes by. That's the time. Call us. We have a large team of people to support you. We understand that we do this every day. For some of you, this is your first situation of dealing with someone who maybe doesn't want to go to school one day. Letting us know that that is the case, even if you can get them on the bus, is also important, because part of what we want to figure out is why might they not want to come to school? So how can we help them while they're here to make this a fun and enjoyable place? Before school starts, right? We all know by now the important, like when our routine got broken, we know the importance of a strong routine. I don't know about you, when my routine got broken, I didn't do well. So you can imagine when you're 5, the importance of those early bedtimes. I would suggest you start in the beginning of August, really starting whatever your bedtime routine is. If you're just kind of letting them stay up a little later through the summer, but you know that you're going to have them go to bed at 8 o'clock and you're going to read 2 books and give them their water, then that's the routine that we suggest you start at the beginning of August. Introducing coming to those things like open house and those other opportunities. We'll talk about kindergarten play dates, getting them to school during those fun times, building that relationship with Pine Spring in a positive way. Really impacts how your first day is going to go, right? We know that some kids are ready to blow a kiss and head off to kindergarten, and some are a little more reserved, right? And it's great because we see all of those personalities develop. But again, having that positive relationship, knowing that one friend that they might see on the first day of school, oh, you're gonna go see Penelope is gonna be at school when you get there. Oh, Jacob is going to be at school when you get there today. That is going to impact how they view and feel about school. Moms and dads, we're going to talk about this in a minute, but we also have to talk about how you handle the first day of school, right? You're going to cry. It's okay. But you're going to wait till they get on the bus or out of the car. Okay, so we're going to talk about those things, but the other things are making sure that you're not angry, that we can talk through anxiety. It's okay to be anxious about school, making sure that we don't say that there's nothing wrong, you just need to go to school, talking through those situations, and developing a backup plan. Here's a tough one for parents. We know most of our families have both adults or whoever is in the house are working. We can appreciate that when we call and someone's sick, that you may not be able to get here as quickly as you would like. Making sure that you have a backup plan, that someone is on your emergency care card, someone close, that in that emergency they can come. We try our best to make sure that we can maintain things at home, but you're going to want to make sure if they have a fever, especially In the days where illnesses have changed, right? Making, like, the idea would be to have someone here within 30 minutes. Okay? Now we're going to talk about a life of a bobcat.
Day in the life of a bobcat.
For those of you who have not figured it out, our mascot is the bobcat, and we love it a lot here at Pine Spring. So when we talk about a day of the life of a bobcat, this is one of our kindergarten students.
I was just gonna say that because I was like, why? They're probably wondering, why do we have bobcats? All right, so these are just some pictures of our recent kindergarten class. Some first grade might be sprinkled in there as well. This just gives you an idea of what their day might look like. So here's a sample schedule. We start every morning with breakfast. If your child eats breakfast at home, they do not need to eat breakfast at school, but they are welcome to. Breakfast is free for everyone, okay? They also have a morning meeting, and that's where they really start the team building and the community and getting to know each other. And that's about 15 minutes of the morning. Then they have a phonics lesson. At Pine Spring this year, we started something called Horton Billingham, and that gives us some really great strategies on building those phonics skills. We have a language arts workshop, which lasts about 2 hours. Lots of things in there. We're going to cover some of the curriculum in a minute. We have specials, so they go to art or music or PE and library. We also have lunch, so they eat lunch right in the cafeteria. It doesn't get set up like this. There's tables that they sit in. Lunch is offered, they go through the line, they have their tray, and then they get their lunch and they sit down and they eat with their friends. They have recess, so there's a 30-minute required recess, which is usually broken into 15 minutes and 15 minutes throughout the day. And there is a playground that you guys can visit after your tour if you'd like to do that. We have a math workshop that usually occurs either in the morning or afternoon, and that's about an hour and a half. And then they have social studies and science, which is a combined 30 minutes. And then there's dismissal. Right? So these are just a couple things that they're going to do at a morning meeting. So this is their opportunity to greet their teachers and their classmates. Like I was saying, it's a place for them to build relationships. It's also a great opportunity for them to build those oral language and literacy skills. They also learn to listen to their friends. So this is a skill that sometimes isn't mastered by the time they get to kindergarten. So here are some little things that they're going to be, just a few things that they're going to be learning for reading time. This is their early literacy skills, starting off with environmental print. They're learning their letters, they're learning the sounds of letters, they're learning to put those letters together to eventually read. Okay, and then they're going to be also exposed to a lot of different types of books, nonfiction and fiction. They're also going to start those early writing skills, connecting what they're reading to what they're writing. So they're going to learn how to stretch those sounds into words. They're going to maybe label some pictures that to start off. They're also going to match their pictures with the words that are on the page. And then they're also going to get to know some authors being exposed to by their teachers. Here are some things that they're going to learn in math. Starting out with those math manipulatives, learning how to use those tools. Counting, matching numbers. They're learning about money and fractions, learning about the calendar, all kinds of fun things that they get to do in kindergarten. And here are some things they do in social studies and science. When it's nicer outside, they actually get to go and explore the courtyard, and they get to see things like animals and work on things like sink and float with water buckets. And then they also get to learn about being a good citizen, community helpers, and making good choices. Okay, we did talk a little bit about lunch. These are just a couple reminders about lunch. If they buy a lunch, they just need to come, and what they do is they put in their PIN. Every student gets a PIN. And don't worry, they're going to have a name tag with a little cheat sheet. Every time they go through, they're going to be able to practice entering their PIN. So that's going to be an easy situation for them. Probably not in the beginning, but as they practice, they'll get used to it. If they do bring in a lunch, we ask that the lunch box has your child's name on it, because sometimes kids have the same lunch box. And then remember to pack those healthy choices. Okay. If your child is buying, there's a menu that is posted on the website. If you want to go over that with your child to see, maybe what kinds of choices there are, what might you want to choose today. And if they don't see anything on the menu, maybe that might be an opportunity to pack their lunch. Okay. In kindergarten, they have an instructional assistant come to them with lunch for lunch. Okay. So they're not going to be alone in the cafeteria. Well, nobody ever will be alone in the cafeteria. That would be ridiculous. But each table each class has their instructional assistant that comes in and helps them. Okay. All right. In kindergarten, they also have snack. You can send a snack in. It's not a requirement. It's a prepackaged snack, usually something really small. It's not like a picnic spread. You can do like nuts, or not nuts, I'm sorry. You could do nuts. You do nuts if there's no allergy in your class. You can do nuts. We just skip the nuts. Great, small pack of goldfish, granola bar, anything like that is good to bring in for your student. Okay, and we don't heat anything, so there's no microwaves for kids, unfortunately. All right.
Briefly, just because we just officially got word with the lunch slide, all breakfast and lunch will be free for all students again this year. So we were slated as one of the schools who, regardless of income, every child has access to free breakfast each morning. Breakfast usually includes a juice, a milk, a fresh fruit, and then a meal, typically a carb. So keeping a balance on which meals you want them to have and not have might be a great idea. We encourage you to look at the menu. The breakfast is pretty standard. On Monday we have, on Tuesday we have. And then if there's any major changes that we know of, we notify you of that because we know that kids look forward to the cinnamon roll. Exactly what you would have given them that morning too, I'm sure. But when we think about getting ready for school, because the number one question we get at the end of this meeting is usually, what can I do to make sure that my child is ready for kindergarten, right? Because it's all of the little things you may not be thinking of. When you're not there, of course, we have a teacher and an instructional assistant. We don't let anyone go out in the cold without their jacket on. However, children going into kindergarten should be able to not only put on their jacket, they should be able to zip their jacket. This is all assuming that they are neurotypical without physical or significant learning difficulties. If you have a child with learning or physical difficulties, please reach out to us as soon as possible so that we can make sure that your child's day at kindergarten is as successful as every other child's. We have wonderful programs and opportunities for you. So all of these, I just want to go back to, these are for children without assuming no or limited physical or cognitive issues. But being able to zip your shoe or zip your shoe, zip your coat, tie your shoes. We know it's kindergarten. They may not have mastered it yet, right? Someone will help them, but this is that great opportunity. They should have those beginning steps to being able to tie their shoe with it by that point. Blowing their nose and washing their hands, right? We know they're only 5, right? And you have held on to them so tight through this very difficult time. And now they have we have masks on or mask off. We're hoping that we're in a position where we all feel comfortable one way or another. But mask on, if your child is coming with a mask on, making sure that they know that when they're getting ready to sneeze or after they sneeze, they should remove that and then wipe. If they have a mask on, we will give them a new mask, but making sure that they know that if inside of their mask is wet in any way, they should let somebody know. Things that you didn't think about 3 years ago. So being able to wash their hands. Again, our public health nurse and our clinic assistant do a wonderful lesson with our kindergartners about, they go under and they get to see whether the germs would still be on their hands. But that's a great skill, making sure that they understand to wash the back of their hands because we see this, right? So they have a whole other side of that hand and working with them early. Sharing and taking turns at home. Right? They may be the king or queen of their castle right now. They're getting ready to join 18, 20 more students. They have to be able to share and deal with supporting through conflict. Of course, we're there. We have play situations set up so that we can help children continue through those. But you have to think about what your child is someone who really loves their stuff and only wants them to touch their stuff. When it becomes shared items again, we're hoping to go to a situation where we're sharing and having cooperative play again, making sure that they're able to share and helping language. My turn. Can I play with that? Those things when they want something. Being able to advocate when someone takes something, right? That was mine. Can I please have it back? Those kind of sentence starters are great to get them up and running. Having chores at home, right? So again, if they're 4, it seems like chores, they're not taking out the garbage, we know. But those little things like putting your shoes away, when you take your coat off, it's okay to have them hang their coat up. It's okay to have them take their plate to the sink, those kind of opportunities. For some people, it seems natural and you have been doing this for a long time. Others, this is something that we can help if you're struggling with how to support your child. Again, you are a Bobcat, you're registered, you are a Bobcat, please call the office. We can help you through those difficult situations. We have a team for that. Taking care of belongings such as their coat, backpack, are lost and found. This is the kindergarten through 6th through 12 school problem, right? Our lost and found is always full because our students sometimes forget their jackets, they forget their coats, now they forget their water bottles. We do have a lost and found. We encourage that first that you teach them how to make sure they have all of their belongings, and then we suggest you safeguard it by adding their name to things. Right, so you will want to put on the bottom of Sawyer's water bottle, you would want to put Sawyer, just so that when Sawyer and Addie, so I was just thinking really Sawyer, I was like Sawyer and Addie both have water bottles that look the same. We know whose goes to who at the end of the day. It also stops the that's mine. So it would help us as well. So we'd appreciate that. This is the tough one, guys. Using the bathroom independently. Most of your children are probably potty trained by now. The tough one is they have to finish the whole routine by themselves. That does include wiping. So they have, it's important that an adult will not be able to support them in the bathroom as long as there's not a specific plan for a child. Again, children with special needs, if you have a child with special needs, it's very different. But if you do not have a child with special needs, the expectation is that they be able to let us know that they need to use the bathroom. Use the bathroom. Don't worry, the bathroom is right in their kindergarten classroom. Wipe and wash their hands. So that is the whole routine that they should be able to go through. First day of school. This is the tough one. It's harder on you than them. Okay? So, like I said, it's okay. Well, if this is your first, you're going to be really sad. You're going to cry. If this is your 5th, you may just be like, okay, right? You've done this before. But we have 3 ways that you can come into Pine Spring. You can come kiss and ride. Where you most likely park today is our kiss and ride. The first week of school is going to be the first 2 weeks of school is going to be beyond overwhelming, and you're going to think, I'm never sitting in this. Don't worry. On a normal day, by the time you get to the kiss and ride line, when the bell rings, it takes approximately 5 minutes after the first 2 weeks for you to drop your child off. Why? Because you pull up and we open the door, we get your child out and we let them in. You don't even have to get out of your car. That's how easy it is.
Ballet.
Yeah, it's valet. We have valet kitchen right here. So, and it is a teacher or an instructional assistant here that'll help them get in. We have people lined up down the hallways, and of course, it's all hands on deck until all of our kindergartners feel comfortable getting to their classrooms daily. So it is not just on the first day, it is likely for at least the first month, right? At least 2 weeks to a month that we have all adults down that hallway, and we know where your kiddos go. So you don't have to worry about coming in and making sure that Harry made it to his classroom. We've got it. So you get to head off to work or your Yahoo and Boohoo breakfast, right? Whatever is making you feel better on that first day if you're putting your child on the bus. As much as you want to drop them off on the first day, we encourage that you follow your normal routine, right? What is tough is when you drop off at Kiss and Ride, and then you want them to get on the bus at the end of the day, and now we will at least have one opportunity when they've taken the bus. Follow your normal routine. If they're going to get on the bus in the morning, get on the bus. The bus letters, because this is a big question. Letters for transportation do not come from Pine Spring Elementary. That is not my circus. I am very fortunate that that is not mine. They coordinate for the entire county. We have a wonderful transportation system, and they are going to make sure that your child gets picked up at their bus stop and gets dropped off at their bus stop. They will make it to school. We've never had a problem where they didn't make it to school. And kindergartners sit in the front of the bus. They are safe. It's going to be okay. Following that routine is important. If you are a walker, you will still come in. The cones will be lined up. You'll come in the same way you came in today. There'll be a line. Kindergarten and first grade come in one way, 3 through 6 come another way, so that your little one does not have to worry about being in line with the big 6th graders, right? That's always a worry. Don't worry, we've got you taken care of. Lunch, again, we said, I think we kind of covered lunch largely. It is free this year. We do, if your child has a peanut allergy, peanut nut, if they're allergic to celery, whatever it is, we need to know sooner rather than later. We need to know before the first day of school. For example, our most common allergy is, of course, nuts and tree nuts, peanuts and tree nuts. We have special tables, we have special arrangements depending on the level of need for your child. We work around it. We have signs outside of classrooms that say it's a nut-free room, which is why she was saying certain families could bring nuts to school, others don't. But we just encourage across the board that you kind of steer clear of nuts for snack. That does not mean that you can't send a peanut butter jelly sandwich for lunch. If that's your child's favorite first day food, that's okay. We will just make sure that they are not with someone who has a nut allergy.
Pickup's the same pretty much as the ride.
Sorry, yep, pickup is the exact same.
Exact same.
Thank goodness we have an amazing Ms. Right?
Yeah.
Communication, how to stay in touch, right? We have talking points, the monthly newsletter, we have Parent View, we have the News You Choose, which is a weekly email, usually weekly email that comes out from me. That'll give you everything that's happening in the school. It has your save the dates. It has things you need to sign up for. It has things that are happening at school. You can always, if you're a Twitter person, you can follow us on Twitter at Pine Spring FCPS. And of course, our website.
That's okay. Talking points, if you don't know what that means, it's an app that the teacher is going to share with you. And then she or he will text message you through the Talking Points app, and it translates automatically. Okay, so we're going to welcome our wonderful PTA president and Pine Spring parent, Miss Bess Mitchell. Come on down.
Hi, I know some of you, a lot of you. I'm Bess Mitchell. I am the PTA president this year and next year. And I do have other clothes. But it doesn't really whenever I come here, I tend to wear my t-shirts. It's easy, but I promise. And that is my daughter Maggie, who's in kindergarten this year, so she'll be a first grader next year. And I have a son, Wynn, who's in 3rd grade. So we've been here for a while. And we love Pine Spring, and I want to talk a little bit about what the PTA does. I think sometimes people who haven't gone to elementary schools or public schools before maybe have an idea what a PTA is. And I would say if you have any of those ideas, they're probably not true for Pine Spring. The PTA is a very welcoming and inclusive group. We're not exclusive. There's no elections or anything like that. We really just want to support the school, support Miss Yak, support the students, and kind of bring the community together. It's been a weird couple of years for PTA. We really haven't been able to have a lot of our events that we usually do because we haven't been able to sort of gather in large groups, but we're really hoping next year things are back to a little bit more normal. We like to sponsor events. We do dances, which may sound weird for elementary school, but they're actually very fun. They're sort of just like dance parties. And then we do an international night every year. We help sponsor the book fair. We're hoping to set up, we do bingo nights, we're hoping to set up some food truck events, different things that we can do both inside and outside to kind of start getting the community back together. I know everybody is very busy and a lot of people don't have time to be like on the board and things like that. I know I don't a lot of the time, but you know, we make it happen. But there's so many opportunities to volunteer for specific events or specific outreach efforts that we have. People do things like they can coordinate t-shirt sales or coordinate school supply box ordering, which really is just, you know, sending a few emails. You can do it on your own time. Any bit can help, anything that you would like to do. If you have a special skill or have a special connection with a restaurant or a local business or something where you would like to sponsor something or set something up, we are always open to new ideas and new events. And we really just want to get the whole school involved and bring everybody together as a community. So Kristen Gallagher, who's in back there, has been on the board with me for a couple of years. We will be outside at the table by the front office if you have any questions on your way out. And in your bags that you got from Ms. Fancy, there is a PTA sort of sign up sheet with a QR code. You don't have to sign up and pay dues now if you don't want to. We would ask maybe if you do at some point, but you don't have to right now. You can do that. We'll be around. You'll see us at all the other events before school starts. But you can sign up for our mailing list now without actually paying for a membership, which we would encourage you to do. We don't send out a ton of emails, but we send out things when there are events coming up or potential fundraisers or things like that. If you just want to start getting an idea of sort of some of the things that PTA is interested in, we would encourage you to join our mailing list. And we try to work with Ms. Yak to make sure that all of the events are also in her News You Choose. So if you sign up for that, you should see a lot of them as well. So we'll be outside after this if you have any questions. Oh, and the kindergarten play dates. So this is a PTA sponsored event that we do right before school starts. So the 13th and the 20th are the 2 Saturdays before school starts. So the 20th is just a couple of days before. We do them in the morning, 10 to 12 on the Pine Spring Playground. There will be, I promise, lots of kids there, not just kindergartners, older kids that your kids can talk to. I'll make my kids come. We usually have snacks and waters, and it's a really good opportunity to just meet neighbors that you've never met, meet kids that are going to be in your kids' class, so that they maybe have a familiar face on the first day. So those, we will be sending out more information about those through both News You Choose and the PT board email. We actually also have the Pine Spring PTA Facebook page. If you're still on Facebook and you want to follow that, we post all that stuff there as well. The play dates are really fun, so hopefully you can make it to at least one of those before school starts.
And we'll be posting this whole slideshow on our website, so you can always revisit it. Thank you. All right, so again, we are here to help, Principal Yak and myself, Miss Fancy. I have a 2-year-old, so when I dropped her off at daycare, I felt that anxiety and I cried a lot in my car. So I know as a parent what it feels like to let your kids go in the hands of other people. So if you ever want to talk to me about it, I didn't send her to kindergarten yet, so I don't have that experience, but all right. So the next thing that's going to happen is you guys are going to take a little school tour with your child. And then if you feel up to it, you can get on the bus and do a very quick neighborhood tour. And then it will drop you off back here and then you're free to go. Okay? Did anyone have any questions?
Did you talk to lunch timing? Our first grader, were saying they were having a very early lunch. Is that?
Yes.
So we're very excited to go back to a normal lunch. Our current lunch is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That was due to COVID. It was the idea that we had to cut our lunches, the number of kids in the cafeteria by half, and then try to get as many kids outside when it was nice out during the beginning of the school year. At this point this year, we're not going to change it. We would have to change the whole master schedule. We would destroy routines for kiddos that we've just talked about how important those routines are. However, next year, barring anything that I don't know, because I have learned to add that to everything that I say, assuming a normal school year, which we are, it would typically lunches go from around 11 to around 11 to 1, which is a normal lunch period. Like that's, like your typical elementary lunch period. We try to put kindergarten in a place where it still makes sense for them to have breakfast, lunch, and a snack, so that they have all three of those to spread their day out a little bit. Great question. Yes, we will go back to a normal lunch schedule as well. That was nobody's favorite. But if you thought about the balance, the other option was them eating in their classroom and having their masks off for long, like for that, breakfast is 15 minutes. Lunch in the classroom would have been 30 or over, like we all know that kind of goes a little over. It would have been over 30 minutes in the same space without a mask. So we made that decision at the beginning of the year on the information we had, if you remember, in July of 2021.
Hopefully no brunch next year. Anyone else?
What's the average class size?
Another advantage to being a Title I school, we are capped at 24 students per classroom. However, we don't typically meet that. So we typically, I believe this year we're at around 20 kids per classroom. And that's, we're at the end of the school year. For those of you who have other kids, we're almost there. But it's around 20 kids through K through 2. You'll see as they get a little bit older, the classrooms go up slightly, but again, we try to keep our classroom sizes low. I do believe the idea that the lower your classroom size is, the better opportunity your teacher has to interact with your child one-on-one more often.
Our daughter loves to ride the bus. She only lives like a couple blocks from her. She's still like
So you can apply through transportation for an exception to ride. I'm going to be kind of, especially now with everything and the shortage of bus drivers. Before the pandemic, it would have probably been limited. In full transparency, I will still make sure that I get you the information, but the likelihood is less that they'll be able to. But when they see all of their friends walking, they also have we have bus riders who want to be walkers, walkers who want to be bus riders. It is kind of that, whatever you have, you want to try the other. But we can find opportunities. They'll get to go on field trips. They'll take the bus. So there will be opportunities that we'll make sure we find for them. What other questions might you have?
Are there laptops?
Yes, we are 1-to-1 building wide, and by the time your kindergartner joins us, we will have brand new laptops for our K students. I would say that our current K laptops, it's time for new ones.
Yeah.
We can't, I don't know, will they still be the gravity enhanced computers?
This is Daniel Espinoza, one of our tech specialists.
The kindergarten got it.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
yes, they're working on iPads, yes.
So it'll be a smaller compartment.
Backpack.
Yes, because currently, for a period of time, right, between the snow days that were going to be potentially virtual, there was a small period in the winter where we were concerned about schools being able to stay open. All kids in Fairfax took their laptops home. Our current gravity enhanced computers were probably as heavy as some of our kindergartners. So
We saw that.
So we are, and those are, and we're, in general, we're very fortunate. If you think about how far we've come, like when I was a kid, we went to the computer lab and took our turn on once a week on 20 computers, so you got to go once a week. We're super excited that we have laptops, and now we're more excited that they are more developmentally appropriate.
How much screen time are they getting on those a day on average?
So given everything that's happened, we're actually asking for less screen time than we used to, right? I will be the first one to tell you that pre-pandemic, I was the first one that said kids have to have access to these computers. They've got to get moving on them. They've got to know how to interact with the computer. This is our current world. And that's still a reality, but I would say it's probably less than 30 minutes a day now because of just the amount of screen time kids have had in the last few years, the amount of screen time you all have had. They're still very important. They're the tool that they're going to use for the rest of their life. And they might have technology as a special once a week to learn how to do things like Scratch kind of coding and those opportunities. But we are not the open it up and the teachers in the front and we're learning here. We experienced that through the pandemic and we're sure that that was not the best way of teaching. That is the best way I can tell you about that. All right, any other questions you might have other than where's my baby?
Yes, we're gonna get you to your babies, don't worry.
Right? All right, so know that we are here all summer. We also have a Bridge to Kindergarten program that will be sending information out. The first priority is children who have not had any preschool experience, and then after that, we will open it up to other families. We're excited to have you start in the summer and get ready for a great year. But we're also here for questions for you, whether it is how to transition, something that's happened. You said something today, like, can I bring nuts? Can I not bring nuts? It sounded like a little bit of difference. Call us. It is better for you to email me and I can get back to you than you set up at night worrying about something that we could have fixed before that first day of school. In a normal world, I can usually get back to anyone within 24 hours. I know this year, maybe, depending, we had to prioritize a little bit, but if you send something, I'm usually pretty quick to respond to those opportunities. But if it's an emergency, call the main office. We're here during the day, all day, and we can get to that support as soon as possible.